That's awesome. So I want to move to some interview and resume questions. So our next question is from TechExams user Shaco37. I'll be interviewing for an internal red team position and want to prepare myself as best as possible. He mentioned there might be some code review in the interview or questions around using Windows APIs for code execution, and this has me spooked. I expect there to be questions around kill chains, CTPs, MITRE framework, C2 infrastructure, maybe questions on planning and preparing, and I think I could handle all these questions fine, and that worries me because I can't think of more topics or questions that I would struggle with. So I don't know, maybe that's a good problem to have, but at the same time, it also suggests that our question asker here is worried that they don't know what they don't know. Can you talk about, and I know Curtis, you're a hiring manager as well. Can you talk about sort of what types of things are asked in interviews and how to sort of prepare, and how to prepare when you don't know what you don't know to be asked? What do you do in a situation like that?
Yeah, so I'm not currently in a hiring manager position, but I have been in the past in a couple of different roles. And so I know as both a candidate and a hiring manager, a lot of times these questions are asked with the intent to kind of brainstorm with the candidate to see what they know. I don't think there's ever, at least in my experience, been an expectation for the candidate to know the answers to all of the questions asked. So I understand how that can be overwhelming, even as a candidate. You know, I want to make sure I answer everything absolutely correct. But a lot of these are just to see what you know. Not everybody has a super wide background in security, so they're going to bounce around and see what areas you do know better than others and make sure that they're, applicable for the job. And so yeah, I would just say don't get discouraged. Don't get hung up on any one question if you don't know the answer. That's okay. Again, you're probably not expected to know all of the answers. This candidate seems to know that of specific things that they might not be as familiar with. So my suggestion there, again, going back to our previous answers, is just to brush up on those things if you're concerned about that before you go into the interview.
Yeah, and a lot of things that are mentioned regarding, tools, techniques and procedures, the TTPs, as well as the command and control stuff that was also mentioned. I think that really, brushing up on threat intelligence, right, and understanding like the most, trending topics, whether it be ransomware or certain malware that's being used. Especially, I don't know what industry this is, but it could be in banking, so you could be familiar with Dridex or other malware. And kind of the trends it's going. And I think having a command of that knowledge goes a long way, because really those are the types of behaviors that you'll have to emulate in the red team as well, right? So I think really what the threat intel is providing will be beneficial for painting a story of how an attacker would view this organization. And a lot of times I think that it's a lot of scenario playing. Like every time I've hired for red teamers, it's just talking about scenarios and how you would think through it. And if you have those critical thinking skills to address a certain red team objective, I think is helpful.
New episodes of the CyberWork podcast are available every Monday at 1 p.m. Central. And don't forget to check out our hands-on training series, CyberWork Applied. Each week, expert Infosec instructors teach you a new cybersecurity skill and show you how that skill applies to real-world scenarios. Go to infosecinstitute.com/learn to stay up to date on all things CyberWork.